Welcome, hello everyone. It's office hours. It is 4:30 p.m. Central Time. It is Wednesday, and it feels good being back again.
Happy to have you back.
Well, rumors are that you hold up the fort last week. Well done. So, yeah.
Thank you. I did my best. I hope you enjoyed your travels last week. Sounds like you did, so that's a good thing.
It was nice, not just seeing the family, it was also nice being in above freezing temperatures.
Yes, I can imagine. I was a little bit jealous. But
Double
you came
window.
back to it, so.
Indeed. All right. So, what news do you have for us, good sir?
So I came across a few things this week. A lot of stuff it seemed like came out over last week, but there were a couple of major ones that really drew my eye. First and foremost, a pretty major update to the Intune 132 app module from Nikolai Anderson. It's been around for a long time, but things when you are developing for the community, which Nikolai has done a ton of work for the community over the years, things can get in the way and in life or where you don't get to contribute as much as you'd like. And so I guess long story long, what I'm trying to say is the module needed a little bit of love. And boy, did we get it with this update. This module is used primarily for interacting with Win32 apps in Intune, as you might imagine with the name. But interacting in a way that allows us to get information about them. We can actually automate the creation of Win32 apps and things like that. And Johan and I often talk about this module and use this module. So I was really excited to see this. One of the big updates to this really is removing the dependency on msal.ps, which is an authentication module that's been kicking around for quite some time. Long before we got our Microsoft Graph SDK and PowerShell, it was basically a module that was used only for authentication. And this is really where everything that I was saying comes in. Things have changed a lot in the background in how we authenticate, what the best way to authenticate is to things like Microsoft Graph and Intune. And so happy to see these modules going away. What that looks like then to us at the end is we are able to connect to Graph without any additional modules and use any specific enterprise app or a custom enterprise app that we create in our tenants. And then another big change that we've talked about here on Office Hours over the last couple of years is a lot of these older modules were using a default Microsoft Intune PowerShell enterprise application that had also been around forever, I think, Johan. Seems like
a while, yeah.
Yeah, on the Intune side. So some major authentication changes, but you can see here tons of new features. A lot of them are around the authentication flow, so we can authenticate with access tokens. We can authenticate interactively. We can authenticate with a client ID and a secret. Really just brings it in line with a whole bunch of other things. And a number of other enhancements to this module. So I've been testing it a little bit this week. So far, so good. I was seeing some common errors when creating applications and things like that up before this update. So I'm happy to see most of those have been solved. And really just a huge kudos to Nikolai for putting this out. So obviously I'm excited about this update.
It kind of shines through just a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, I've found, you can write automation with the Graph SDK, right? As it relates to creating applications and stuff, but I have not found an easier community solution for automating the modification and creation and deletion of Win32 apps in Intune. I feel pretty confident in saying that.
No, Nikolai's module has by far been the best for that aspect. So now I'm looking forward to play around with it. I haven't had a chance to do it yet this version, but well, the weekend is coming soon, so all right.
Exactly. So enough of that rambling. Fantastic job, Nikolai. Thank you for that. If you happen to see this. Another post that I came across was from Martin Bankston, active as ever as well, created a PowerShell script basically that is a template for you to use with Intune remediations that allows you to easily modify registry keys on your clients. So what I really like about this is this sort of template format that he built out with a detection script and a remediation script. And we basically just set, did I go right past it? We basically just set either user configs or machine configs, depending on what we're going to configure, and have a consistent basic structure that he's built out with the script. That makes it very easy for us to customize the registry keys we want to create or modify. So I think this will be a very helpful tool as well.
And he's humble too. The only script you will ever need.
That's right.
It better be good.
Uh-huh.
All right.
And then last but not least, I don't know if you saw this one yet, Johan, from our friend Jürgen, how to create better driver update groups. Short and sweet blog post, but I'm pretty much latching on to anything that we see that's new around managing drivers in Intune. So basically just some recommendations on how we can create dynamic groups in EntraID based on specific device models and things like that. Jürgen's had some blog posts around this in the past, along with one of his coworkers, Sasan, that has blogged on this blog post. I think we've referenced those blog posts a number of times here over the last 2 years on Office Hours. But this is just another way to be able to build out some groups that will help you test your drivers and actually get them approved and everything when using Intune driver updates.
So what I like about this post is also that he is showing the usage of like both pilot and production groups. So you can have pilot for testing on a couple of devices, and once you see they survive the driver updates, then you can go ahead and allow the rest of them or assign to the rest of them. I like that.
Yep, I have to agree. All right, so those are sort of the main things that I came across this week. How about you?
A couple of things, of course. The big discussion for us the last couple of weeks has been the pretty much immediate deprecation or removal of the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit that we mentioned here in Office Hours before. But Niehaus, who led the development of the product for quite some time, 15 some years at Microsoft, he posted a follow-up to the very reason it was removed. And it's gonna, where did my screen go? I haven't added it yet. Give me just a moment. There we go. So Niehaus here wrote up a little article on the security issue. So there was a bug found in the MDT monitoring service, which is optional, but a lot of people use it. And as we mentioned here, rather than fixing that bug, Microsoft decided to just remove the binaries for the product. And going back to that deprecation announcement 2 years ago now, that it's been gone and removed. So if you want to have some good reading, I recommend this one. And myself, I'm a bit of a history nerd. He has also put together a complete history of the toolkit since its very first days all up till today. So highly recommend reading of that one. this is an end of an era, unfortunately, but this one explains it very well, what the journey was and how they started, and I really like that post. Now, let's see. There was a couple of posts showing up around a feature that was added for Win32 apps briefly a while ago, and then added back again without much announcements. But now when we work with Win32 apps, we have the option of selecting a script. And that means if I go to my Intune tenant and I create a new application, so I'm just gonna start that process real quick. Apps, Windows, create, pick a Win32 app here, and next, or select and pick a package. I have a 7-zip package. I'm stealing that one for now. And then going over to the command line, you can see there is a drop down here, but you cannot click the drop down until you put something in the command line. Then you can pick the drop down and not use the command line that you typed in. So UI glitch, but this is how you activate it. And this allows you to select a script that runs the application. So a wrapper script, typically, something like that. And the beautiful thing about that is, of course, now you can change that installation script without having to repackage and upload the application again. For example, you mentioned Nikolai's module earlier, Andrew. That was pretty much the only option to upload really large applications to Intune, because it would time out otherwise. So if you have like a 5, 6, 8, 20 gig application, I did a couple of tests with that. That was the only way to get it uploaded. And it would be pretty painful if I have to do that, just change a text in my script that I'm using to install it. So I've been looking forward to this one for quite some time. So beautiful, beautiful addition. Let's see. Well, on the not so great side of things, the last patch for Windows 11, opportunity for growth, as we call it. There were a couple of issues with them. I saw this week people were having problem with Sysmon. After applying the patch, there were some applications that became non-responsive, and there was problem shutting down machines, 23H2s in particular. And Microsoft released an out-of-band hotfix pretty much right away, but it didn't seem to solve all problems. So we'll see. Hoping for better luck next month when the February Patch Tuesday kicks in.
Yeah, I saw there was an out-of-band patch to the out-of-band patch.
Yeah. Oob. Yeah. All right. Martin Hemken, that we showcased many times here on the Academy. He put together a really nice article around certificate and secure boot and all the changes that happens later this year. I highly recommend reading that one. And just because I can, and it made me smile. I saw this one earlier, but it's just a screenshot for good old Norton Commander on a CRT screen from, I think, 1991. I use that one a lot to copy files. That one and directory opens on the Amiga, brilliant copy utility at the time, way before the Explorer or anything like that. So that was fun.
Beautiful.
Retro, yeah. And then Sami Laiho shared a post from Bleeping Computer. Turned out that Telnet servers are having some security issues. So there's a couple of utilities that is very, very common to use on, well, primarily Linux machines. But turned out that the Telnet server had a pretty ugly bug. And as you can see here, Shodan shows that there are just a couple of them out there. that are vulnerable for this particular attack. So if you're using Telnet server, using those internet components there that this article describes, get patching. That's the gist of it. And speaking of security issues, this one I was trying to do like a double face palm basically, but this one is not good. This one is Fortinet. Again, apparently there is a bug right now that if you have an account and a registered device, you can log in to other Fortinet devices, not just your account, but others. And I thought that was a pretty. I don't think it's good. It's a opportunity for growth on that one too. So if you're using that platform, also get patching, but of course that platform. And then stumbled across a storage review. Myself, I'm a big fan of Synology NAS devices. I've been using them for years and years and years. But I am slowly warming up to maybe getting myself Ubiquiti NAS, and primarily because Mr. Mike Terrell has been telling me how great his one is. So maybe. But this review was a good one. Brand new release of a 8-slot NAS device. And yeah, that was that one. And last news from my side is on, let's see, Monday. It's Wednesday today. Microsoft held an AMA around managing applications in Intune. And that recording or that video that was used is available. So if you go over here, this is where I have the video, an hour long-ish, 54 minutes. If you're working with Intune applications, highly recommend taking a look at that one. Microsoft this year is, of course, investing a lot in apps. One of the coolest features I've learned at the Workplace Ninja in Dallas was that software metering at some point is coming to Intune in 2026. So that would be cool. That's one of the blockers I've seen for ConfigMgr customers that want to migrate application workloads over to Intune. So that was it. That was all I news I have. Do we have any questions out there?
Just a couple hellos from some familiar faces at the moment.
Yeah, Matthew, Amir, hello to you guys too.
I'm glad you mentioned the AMA. I brought it up last week with every intention of trying to join it live on Monday, and like you said, here we are Wednesday, and time.
I take you missed it.
Yeah, but I mean, happily, these things, they've done a really good job of putting the recordings up, like you mentioned, and actually keeping the questions and everything available for quite a while, which I appreciate.
Yeah, the thing with these AMAs and even the technical takeoff, is a kind of a mix of presentations and this. Sometimes just reading through the Q&A in the bottom, you learn so much.
Yep.
Because if you have a question, you can bet someone else had one too, and really good questions and answers. Would recommend. 11 out of 10 would recommend.
Great.
All right, but I do not see any questions. If you have any out there, we have plenty of time to answer. We have about 40 minutes left here on the office hours. So anything is on your mind, let us know. Or we'll go back and talk about, I don't know, data centers and home labs and stuff like that. I actually stumbled across a post earlier today, and can share that one. Yes, of course, it was a good feed. Not related to Intune anything, but basically a long article on how to have a home lab that like still feels like a data center. So recommend reading that one. Proxmox, I believe, was the setup for this one, but this is pretty nice home lab, I'll say. I've seen worse data centers than this one.
Yeah. I did see, that's a little bit of a sad story, I guess, but I did see this morning, I think most of us at this point probably know that DDR5 RAM has been skyrocketing now for 3 months, 4 months or so.
Yeah.
And because of that now, folks are going and buying up DDR4. And I saw a post on Reddit this morning that DDR4 RAM prices are climbing twice as quickly as DDR5 was. I suspect part of that is because a lot of the manufacturers have already stopped or slowed down creating DDR4 RAM. But if you need RAM and you haven't heard,
now is the time to go before it even becomes more expensive. Yeah.
It's cheaper today than it will be tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah, and all stuff, but in this regards, I'm not entirely pleased.
No, and it's we've been through. Both of us have been in this industry long enough that we've seen prices, go up and down, right? Especially on RAM, when you're moving from one version to the next. But this seems like something entirely different than I've seen in the past. But anyways, that's the recommendation. If you need RAM or you're going to need it soon, I would buy it. And hang on to your old RAM just in case. Johan, I'm sure you've got a little bit of a stockpile somewhere of old RAM, not too far from your desk, so hang on.
I'll probably make a good selling them. I replaced we have a bunch of HP workstations, and they were shipping with the type of memory that is basically high voltage, in comparison high voltage, because HP also supports low voltage memories. And when you have those, even in an older workstation, you can cram up 2 terabytes of memory, which I love. So I changed them all, but I kept the original modules. I do have a couple available. And I thought, since we are discussing servers here, if you cannot afford memory, maybe you can afford a candle. This one here. I love this one. I hope it exists. I don't think it does, but I hope it does.
That's awesome. All right. Well, while we were talking about home labs, we did have a couple of questions come in. So Amir is asking, what is the recommended way to ensure that the first EntraID user who signs into a freshly imaged device joined to the tenant using a PPKG or a bulk refresh token, PKG, is a local administrator at first login? And he just sent a follow-up comment here. We have user login scripts that require local administrator permissions, but Intune policies are not assigning admin rights quickly enough at sign-in.
Might be a policy you can apply in the package itself. It does have a couple of options, and provisioning packages also allow you to run scripts. So that might be an option. Otherwise, I'm curious to how Autopilot does it, because when you use Autopilot for enrollment, there is a setting where you can say the first user is supposed to be an admin or a standard user, and then depending on your configuration, it becomes one or the other. Mm-hmm. So maybe something like that, but it's not something I have tried. Normally, a good way to deal with local admin memberships is to use the Intune account protection policies to do it, but of course they have to be applied. Login scripts failing because of it, because the policy doesn't come quick enough. I think modifying the best package is the quickest option. That's the only thing I can come up with right now on the spot.
And I wonder, Amir, you very well may have checked this already, but on the Entra side, Johan, do you mind switching my screen for just a moment?
I do not mind at all.
Thank you, sir. Depending on the scope here, if it's just a certain set of users, we did get this preview setting last year that you could set a group that is added as a local admin during the Entra join. So that could make it work a little bit sooner. But again, I like Johan, I have not tested it in that same exact scenario outside of autopilot, I should say. But that might be something to give a try. I suspect that because this is happening during the join, in theory, it should happen well before the Intune settings come down. All right. Got a question here. Have we seen any cool things with Copilot and Intune?
I'm assuming it's around the security Copilot integration. I did have a chance to play around with it last year after begging Rod Trent to give me a trial tenant with it because it was downright too expensive to pay for our little lab. It would set us back $20,000 just to have it going because the compute units are so dang expensive and you need a couple. But I played around with it and I wasn't too impressed then with the type of queries that you could ask for and use. I'm expecting more this year, especially since Microsoft announced at Ignite last year that if you have the E5 license, depending on how many users you have under that license, enterprise license, you get compute units. You get 0.4 compute units per user. So if you have 1,000 users, you get 400 compute units. And usually, a SOC analyst, if you use that feature all day long, would need maybe 6 or 7 per day. So the early versions that was out there, I'm sorry I wasn't too pleased with, but I'm looking forward to play around with it later this year as well.
Awesome. I see just a comment here from Dan. Been considering a new NAS. The Ubiquiti UNAS 4 does look good. I agree. Synology's made a few questionable decisions in the last year that I think I would look towards Ubiquiti. I like you, Johan. I've been using Synology NAS for, 15 years probably.
Yeah.
But the Ubiquiti set of products has been pretty darn good. They haven't been free of their own issues for sure. But from a networking standpoint and a security camera standpoint, they've been pretty rock solid in my experience. I suspect the NAS would be the same.
Yeah, this particular, I was reading up on that. This particular NAS can be used as storage for the camera controller, but you still need to buy that controller. You cannot hook up the cameras directly to this one. You need that. I forgot what I call it. There's some sort of unit in between.
They have the NVR might be
it.
That's
the one. Yes.
And some of the Dream machines, which Kevin just mentioned in here as well, have that basically built in, which is nice.
Yeah. The only thing I don't know about Ubiquiti is how good they are in applications to run on top of that NAS. That has always been the strong suits of Synology, having apps for pretty much everything. Everything from cloud backup to data deduplication to Plex to whatever.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, and you. I don't know either, and so you may have to lay that extra layer of, on top, have another computer that's just using it as storage, and that adds its own complexity for sure.
All right, thank you all for the comments.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Let's see. Mir had a follow-up here. Cannot be a group because then all members will be an admin on each device. In this one, check me on this, Johan. In this setting, this should only be, this is just allowing a group of users to become an admin on the device, on a specific device, when the device is actually joining. So if I were to be in a group that's allowed, that's in this setting, when I join a device for the first time, I'll only be an admin on that device. That's a little bit different than this one. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do. This one right here. This will basically change all of the local administrators across all of the devices in Entra. This still, though, you might not be what you want, because then I could join another device and be an admin on that device, and I could join another device and I'd be an admin on that device. So, yeah. Let's see. Searching through settings in Windows Configuration Designer, nothing admin or group related pops up. Really need to find out how Autopilot does it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have the command support in the package though, so you can run any command line you want. And you can even add binaries and scripts to the package. There is an option for that.
Yeah, that's
so maybe that. Because through the Abridged, you can script pretty much any CSP policy through PowerShell on the device. Well, not all of them, but there is a lot of things available. All right.
Yeah, I see a comment here too. I've come across this recently. If you have Windows location services disabled, Word desktop app throws a prompt about it. No current fix other than enabling location services. Yep. Also seen that with Teams recently. So if you're using Teams Voice in your environment and you have you could set your location previously, or it would find it automatically for 911 services, basically. That's become an issue there as well. There's a specific update last year that made that change. Just can't remember which one it was.
I read something around upcoming features this year that will basically expand on location services. You can see in like which building and what floor someone was working when they were joining.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Kurt's asking, does the hydration kit use MDT? Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. And I don't see a problem continuing to use MDT for it. The problem is finding it.
Yeah.
If you don't have it already. So right now it's available on the Wayback Machine, but I don't know for how long it will be available there. Microsoft can put in a request and ask for it to be removed from it. Just don't enable the monitoring service and have it open to whoever. That was funny. I was having a chat with the researcher who wrote the article, the actual finding that is disclosed by Microsoft, and then waited until they had their chance to do things. And at the point of time where we had a chat, about 300 servers open to the internet. It's like, no, don't. So, yeah, by all means, continue to use MDT, but do not enable the monitoring service.
Amir's asking, don't those PPKG commands or scripts run as system at join time and not as the user when they log in?
They are more or less guaranteed to run that system. That is a good point. The only thing I can think of right now is to have it create a scheduled task on the device that runs something later. Membership, though, should be okay. Group membership, if you have a script that runs a system and assigns it. If the only goal and making sure they are an admin early, that should be doable. But not the ideal scenario, no.
All right. Got a question here on YouTube from Roscoe. How to fix Windows 11 LiveCaptions VoiceAccess update loops. Seeking the proper way to resolve language feature-on-demand sync failures rather than using registry hacks to hide prompts.
I haven't the foggiest. I tried the feature like once when I heard about it being available in Windows 11, but I do not know. I'm sorry. If anybody else does, please let us know, but I don't.
I did see, this is off topic from the question, Johan, but did you see that the this post here, that if you're using standalone WDS, using unattend.xml with it has been deprecated? I don't know how many are still using standalone WDS, but...
Yeah, I saw that article. It was the 4sysOps people that posted it, and I couldn't care less. That has been a feature not used in 20 years.
Yeah.
So that they're blocking it now, it's like, okay, great.
Fine.
No. The good use of Windows Deployment Services is using it as a vehicle to deliver boot images, but not use its native imaging capabilities, because that is not a good solution at all. And that would be the only reason to run the unattend file to get it set up, which has been blocked for Windows 11 since a good couple of years back. So first of all, it's only for Windows 10, using a method you should not be using anyway. So no. Use Windows Deployment Services or better Pixie servers to boot a boot image that work with a real deployment solution, not whatever built-in stuff in WDS or Windows Deployment Services, as the full name is.
Yeah, I don't even think that I would have considered using it in this way, but...
The last time I saw someone using the imaging capability in Windows Deployment Services was in early 2000. One of the tech heads, they were preparing lab machines for the conference, and they had a really large image they were pushing out to about 1,000 devices, and they were using the multicast functionality in Windows Deployment Services for it. Don't. Multicast is, I mean, it still exists, but it was something you used with Ghost back in the 90s. If you want speed and performance, use peering. Doesn't kill your network much. All right. Anything else?
Let's see. Just another follow-up comment from Amir. Thought of using a scheduled task to make them admin. Problem is we don't know who the user will be until they log in, and then it's already too late. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of a catch-22.
Mm-hmm.
If that information is available somewhere, you can have a script look it up, or use the web service to look it up or something. But yeah, that's a tricky one. Awesome questions. We have 19 minutes left. Any more questions?
Not that I am seeing at the moment, just making sure that we didn't miss anything.
I don't think so. I think we managed to answer all the questions that we could answer. There were a couple where we didn't, but well then, it seems like we are getting off the hook easy today.
All right.
Well, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for the many good questions and comments here in the chat. And we certainly hope to see you again next week, 4:30 p.m. Central Time. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Johan. Thanks, everybody.